Our commentators then for this kickoff in Buenos Aires, they are Craig Burley, and first good evening to Peter Drury.
Good evening, Matt. And the Argentine anthem, always an event in Buenos Aires. A footballing city, Buenos Aires, as the world game has to offer. This is a venue at which Argentina have not lost a game for 15 years. A sequence of success to be tested now by the world champions. Argentina shaking hands with Spain pre-match for the 13th time in history. The Argentines won the only competitive contest at Villa Park in 1966. The last 5 friendlies have all been in Spain. Xabi Alonso scored both Spanish goals in the most recent of those in Madrid last November, but Spain haven't played here for 36 years. Plenty of familiarity in those handshakes. Barcelona and Real Madrid in particular well represented on either side. But this is Argentina starting again. Since South Africa they have been to Dublin and they've won, but this is their first chance to seek forgiveness from their own fans since their drubbing by Germany in Cape Town at the start of July. We have a Colombian referee, Oscar Ruiz, who has officiated at each of the last 3 World Cup finals competitions. Indeed, he showed a red card in both of his South African assignments. Spain, of course, have no reason to seek forgiveness from anyone. They come here as the planet's biggest and best. They are box office, they are the hottest ticket. Everyone wants a friendly against Spain. No one really wants to face them for real. Gonzalo Higuain was, of course, a scorer of a World Cup finals hat-trick in the summer, and there is his new national coach, Sergio Batista, who was successor to Diego Maradona, only in the first instance as a caretaker. He still has to prove his position. Vicente Del Bosque has very little to prove at all. Argentina and ticker tape. The two, since way back, have gone hand in hand. And there is a meeting of minds and football talent. Kane comes into centre half for Spain tonight. Carlos Puyol is injured and Carlos Tevez is involved from the start against him for Argentina. Most observers distanced from the manic politics of Argentine football would probably be minded to think that their team here looks somewhat stronger than at the World Cup because of the recall of Esteban Cambiaso and Javier Zanetti. The 2 Inter veterans were blown away by Hurricane Maradona, but they return now to a team which we understand is also enhanced by Valencia's sturdy midfield man Eva Banega. As Spain, naturally enough, start with a majority of players who played some part in the World Cup final. Fabregas over the ball there, he came into that side with Villa, who was so potent throughout the main competition. The notion of a prestige friendly was designed for a night like this. World famous venue, world renowned hosts, world champion visitors. There are plenty of points to play for competitively all over Europe tonight, but there is no bigger box office game than this anywhere. Spain's next away game is at Hampden Park, so it's good to have a Scotsman casting his eye across this with me. Craig Burley, is there anything more to learn about the world champions, or do we just admire and enjoy?
I think you just got to enjoy this particular Spanish side at this moment in time. European champions, world champions. They are the team to beat, no matter where they travel, Peter. And being a friendly today, hopefully it'll be an open attacking game. Certainly Argentina have the ability going forward, but we also saw at the World Cup their ability defensively to self-destruct, certainly under Maradona.
Certainly is a game that has caught the imagination in Argentina, long since sold out. Indeed, I was reading this morning that there's a pretty lively black market for tickets. That's Nacho Monreal, the Osasuna left full-back, winning only his third international cap tonight. Gerard Piqué alongside Marchena at the back, and a rare opportunity for Pepe Reina to emerge from the goalkeeping shadows of Iker Casillas. The midfield is for the most part that with which you became so familiar during Spain's triumphant World Cup run, though David Silva of Manchester City comes into it. Since winning the World Cup, Spain have played one previous friendly in the Azteca and drew with Mexico, and on Friday night they cantered past Liechtenstein by 4-0. As I mentioned, in Scotland's European Championship qualifying group. There's Cambiasso back in Argentine colours, some would say overdue in them. Gabriel Heinze of Marseille. It's Gabriel Milito, Heinze, Cambiasso. Gabriel Milito starts the game, his brother Diego doesn't. Up by Mascherano. Messi's not sure whether to play on. Heinze is down.
There's a late challenge on Gabriel Heinze. The referee didn't quite see it. He was watching the play just go forward. Argentina almost get in.
Milito. For a friendly game, it's a feisty start. Mascherano, now a part of the Spanish club scene, is on the receiving end from Fabregas, Real Madrid, and perhaps one day again Barcelona, going shin to shin.
Yeah, just trying to nick the ball away there. Fabregas just caught Mascherano. At least the temporary coach Batista's realised that Mascherano needs a bit of help in there, Peter. He was literally against the Germans when Argentina went out in South Africa. He was in there on his own and got a total pasting, in all fairness to him. He could do nothing about it. At least he's got Banega and Cambiasso flanking him now. And quite how Cambiasso and Zanetti didn't go to the World Cup is going to be one of the strangest decisions I've ever seen of two players that have lifted the Champions League only weeks earlier.
Their absence would be easily identifiable as the flaw in the Argentine World Cup plan, really, because they had so much going forward and only really lacked for a bit of solidity. Below has got a long way back. Tevez is trying to free Higuain. Marchena's across, and Reina is lively of mind and body. Zanetti, good for all Argentine supporters to see him back in the mix. Lifted over the top, and the flag has stayed down, and Reina's in trouble, and Argentina should have the lead, and no one knows that better than Carlos Tevez.
That's a square back four for Spain. Just hooked in. Lovely little ball there, clipped over. First touch is not brilliant from Tevez, could probably have taken it on a couple of yards. Great opportunity for a man who missed a sitter against Sunderland recently for Manchester City, so he's not in the greatest of goal scoring forms.
Alonso, Marchena, Busquets, below at right full back. PK. Silva. That's another go at it. Sergio Busquets played every minute of the World Cup campaign, bar the last 30 of the only game they lost against Switzerland. Remember the answer to that quiz question, which is bound to come up. Your local sometime over the next 4 years, the only nation to win the World Cup, having lost the opening game of its tournament, was Spain. Tevez wriggling for space, Banega. Just like the World Cup final itself, it is a game which has begun with a great welter of physical challenges and blasts on the referee's whistle.
There's no holding back, is there, in this one? Xabi Alonso and Carlos Tevez there. Both sides committed. I think both, especially Argentina, with a point to prove.
And with a very, very proud record on this ground. Information of the Argentine team going through the bottom of your screen there. Zanetti recalled. Banega of Valencia coming into midfield, which is familiar again now that Cambiasso is there. And then Messi, Higuain, Tevez, that's more or less the front three that we came to know over the course of the World Cup. As for Spain, Reina in for Casillas. Arbeloa gets to go at right full back. Marchena joins Piqué in the middle. Monreal, a third cap for him. And then Villa rather than Torres up front. Silva and Iniesta supporting him from either side.
Which I'm sure Roy Hodgson's quite pleased about. Much talk about Fernando Torres as we see Carlos Tevez still struggling on the stretcher. About trying to just nurture and put a bit of cotton wool on Fernando Torres. This is because of the distress at the moment for Tevez. A bit of a lunge actually from Xabi Alonso, the Spanish skipper.
I think by general consent it's fair to say that Holland started it in Johannesburg. Van Persie on Busquets very early, Van Bronckhorst on Ramos. But Argentina are on the receiving end. And there are a few in the northwest of England who won't be too pleased to see Carlos Tevez often requiring treatment. Here they come with Messi. And again, and Reina is beaten, and the world champions are behind. And it's the little maestro with a magical feather-like touch. He couldn't score throughout the World Cup finals in South Africa, but back home on Argentine soil, Argentina's favourite son has taken just 10 minutes to score against the champions of the world.
Well, he starts it off, actually run down a bit of an alley there, Lionel Messi, but it's a very unusual Spanish back four. It's by far anything but the strongest, but nobody picked him up there, and Tevez just picks him out. He's completely clear. It's the second time they've been caught short at the back, but you've just got to watch this and you've just got to applaud this. It's a wonderful, wonderful finish. Cheeky, I've got to say, but brilliant.
It is one of those Messi moments where you ask, how has he done that? To give the ball just enough to loop over the line, while somehow taking all the pace off it.
In all fairness, Peter, I think the angle just been against him and Reina coming out. You see the yellow card been administered. It's probably the only thing he could have done there, Lionel Messi, is that Pepe Reina went down, but it was just sheer brilliance.
First yellow card of the so-called friendly is shown to Gabriel Milito. Which is a cause for concern for Sergio Romero, the AZ Alkmaar goalkeeper, who also played all 5 games for Argentina in South Africa. Feared strike. Jabulani no longer an available excuse.
Well, we did see a few of them in South Africa, didn't we? In fact, we probably saw a few every game. And what a brilliant piece of skill here, what a great play, but you've got to say, as Messi ran away from goal, they probably just switched off. Right back's pushed up a bit, Piqué square. Well, it doesn't go down particularly early, does it, Pepe Reina? So still to get it over the goalkeeper from there is, I probably think he just didn't expect him to do that, in all honesty. And, well, he's probably the only person in the field that could.
It is his first international goal since he scored also against Spain, in Spain, last November. And it's a real uplift for Batista, for whom this game, every game, is an audition. He hasn't been promised the job full-time. And it's not a bad line on one's CV to be beating the world champions, and it's a lead that they could double here, Argentina, and do, with an absolutely terrific finish from Higuain. Less than a quarter of an hour played in the River Plate, and Argentina are 2 to the good against the greatest in the planet.
Well, again, it's just a square back four. We've spoken about it already. No Ramos, no Capdevila. Piqué really the only one that's irregular in there. No Casillas in goal either, but in all saying that, it's Pepe Reina, one of the best around. Thought he'd pushed it a bit wide there, Higuain. That's a terrific finish, because I honestly felt the chance had gone with this touch, but he just dinks it over. I think Piqué sliding back in. But again, it's just a simple ball slid through. Marciano just stepping up for offside there, the number 4, which is the cardinal sin with no pressure on the ball. And there's not many, if any, will do this to the Spanish at the moment.
Gonzalo Higuain of Real Madrid has joined Lionel Messi of Barcelona in scoring for Argentina against Spain inside the first quarter of an hour of a prestige friendly that really takes on some substance now. Higuain, who grabbed that hat-trick against South Korea, scored also against Mexico in the second round of the World Cup. And now finds himself with another headline goal to his name.
Well, no organisation in this Spanish back four, unfortunately, friendly or not. No Carlos Puyol, who's injured. As I say, Piqué really the only one that would be probably in the starting back four. And I think that's been hugely evident, Peter, in the start of this game. And you know, the bottom line is, they won't want to be embarrassed. And this Argentinian side on the day, I mean, they could do that too.
Monreal's give and go, rare chance for him ahead of Jean Capdevila. Tapped in by Villa. Returned to him by Silva, and behind. Scored very soon after coming on against Liechtenstein last Friday night, David Silva of Manchester City.
Again, he's a good yard and a half onside there, Higuain. Just poor defending, great little ball. And when you've got world-class players, you've got to do better than that. And well, he just dinks it over, I think Piqué in the end, who goes to ground. But again, it's all coming down this right-hand side in between Arbeloa and Piqué. Way back at the start of the game, Tevez got in on a diagonal run, then Messi got down that channel, and now Higuain for the third time also down that little channel.
Just seems so alien to witness such fragile Spanish defending. Points in the World Cup when scoring against them seemed near impossible. Remember, from the knockout stage onwards, it was 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. 5 clean sheets in 7 for Del Bosque at the World Cup. He conceded 1 against Switzerland, 1 in victory against Chile, but conceding 2 in the same game is a more or less alien concept. And they have conceded 2 inside the first quarter of an hour of the same game here. Simply really by being caught square. Goal in Silva.
No, para afuera.
Mascherano from deep. Messi. Mascherano, Cambiasso, Ainse. Be interesting, Craig, the Argentine team dynamic, because whatever we thought of it and whatever we thought of his selections, they had a real club feel around Maradona at the World Cup when it was going well. How do you think they will welcome back the 2 established veterans, Cambiasso and Zanetti?
I think they'll be welcomed with open arms when they're winning 2-0 against the world champions. Is a simple answer, and they're great players, and I thought it was sheer folly from Maradona in the World Cup not to take them, but that's gone, that's hindsight. It's easy to say that. I've got to say though, if you're the temporary manager, as Batista is, it's not half looking good in your CV at the moment, isn't it?
Involved in a challenge here, which has caused Fabregas to go down in some pain and caused the ref again.
There's a couple of challenges. I think the studs have been up. We saw one from Xabi Alonso earlier on Carlos Tevez, and this time it's Esteban Cambiasso who's got a really high boot. Again, players just sort of lunging in a little bit. Does get a little bit of the ball, but it's a dangerous challenge. It's high, and it's in the midriff of Fabregas, so he goes into the book.
2 yellow cards inside the first quarter of a friendly game. Cambiasso there, confirmation that he's the recipient of the second of those. Call him a veteran, which is a bit harsh. He is still only 30.
It's just the way he looks, I think, without being rude.
Nothing wrong with a bit of hairlessness, I like to think. Silva. Seen by Dimichelis. Out comes Messi. Below can let that bounce. Actually, for the most part, Argentina's defence at the World Cup was very good until they, like England, were shredded by Est. Just 2 goals conceded in their first 4 games, and then 4 goals, of course, in their 5th. Since the World Cup, they've been to Dublin to open the new Lansdowne Road there and won 1-0. Alonso. Villa. Monreal. Alonso. Iniesta. Cambiasso, of course, Antonetti in the Inter side, which is starting its new life post-Mourinho with Rafa Benitez in charge. We saw them on this channel the other Friday night, losing a little limply in the second half against Atletico Madrid in the Super Cup in Monaco. Inter started their Serie A season with a goalless draw at Bologna as well, so it's not been a spectacular new beginning, but internationally quite the opposite here. Nicely done by Cambiasso. Enzo trying to gallop up to join him. Cambiasso upended.
Well, I don't think I've seen a game for quite a while with the Spanish involved where they're the ones that are doing all the chasing, Peter, at the moment. I mean, we've played over 20 minutes now and I can hardly remember David Villa up front touching the ball. It's been all about Argentina. They've had a couple of goals, a couple of very good goals, some shocking defending from the Spanish. There's been 1 or 2 bad challenges, but Argentina are doing to Spain what they have done to most over the last 2 or 3 years.
Messi. Mascherano made good. Messi sent reeling. Not for the first time in his young football life. He is a target, and nobody knows that better than the Spanish players against whom he competes week by week.
Yeah, Fabregas just catches him there. Mascherano did brilliantly just winning it back, didn't he? It's from behind. Does get the ball, but he just clatters through Messi first to take it.
Tranquilo. Sí, yo te aviso, Gaby. Afuera, 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 no pase largo.
Iniesta so sure on the ball. Now Monreal. Here coming in off his wing. Over the top from Alonso. Clear by Banega. And calmness in front of the back 4 from Mascherano. And a chance for Tevez to emerge. Iniesta. Silva. Wanted to slip in Fabregas. At the start, Argentina, apart from anything else, apart from the desire to beat the world champions, have a great pride in their record on this ground. They haven't lost an international here for 15 years. And it is a sequence, the early signs suggest they're likely to extend. Here's Messi trying to tiptoe through. Bit off just a shade more than he could chew. Arbeleur in the sunlight. 4-hour time difference between the UK and Buenos Aires, so it was a 5 o'clock evening kickoff here. Villa denied access to the penalty area by Zanetti. Alonso, Iniesta with a bit of purpose. Oh, it's a smart exchange, but Iniesta had one more hurdle to climb. It was Gabriel Heinze, and Heinze made good his clearance. Very good. Higuain wanted to hold it up for Messi. Busquets was well stationed. Monreal. Villa. Doing the chivying.
Well, they just look a lot more solid to me, Peter, Argentina, when they haven't got the ball compared to South Africa. When you think they've got Tevez, Higuain and Messi up front, they know they can go and play because they've got 3 guys that are real grafters behind them who they just didn't have in the summer. If you add Di Maria to that front 3, it was a front 4, and it just left them against the better sides, i.e. Germany, far too open. By Messi, Heinze, Mascherano and then Banega. Messi may not be moving quite properly. Certainly been on the receiving end a couple of times. First 25 minutes here. Alonso for Spain. He could really do with a goal before half-time. Villa. Well seen by Gabriel Milito. Busquets. Silva. Iniesta. That's a very good try from Villa. And Romero sprawling across his goal. Well, the keeper wasn't getting there. I mean, he hasn't looked like getting in behind David Villa, but it was a lovely little touch from Iniesta, just first time, and hit right on that corner of the upright and the crossbar. The keeper's a good way away. David Villa, by the way, for those of you who like your facts and figures, is at the centre of a little bit of a statistical row at the moment. There are those who would have you believe that he is now level with Raúl in terms of Spanish goal scoring, and there are those who believe he is still on 43 international goals and therefore one short of Raúl's all-time record. And it all depends on whether he's credited with one of 6 they scored against Poland some years ago, and nobody can quite agree. What we do agree on is that he knows the way to goal. Well, was it one for this dubious goals panel as we see tracking the run of Lionel Messi there? I think Spain just switched off at this point. Messi continued. Spain thought the move was finished when Messi went away from goals, and before he knew it, he was through on Pepe Reina. A lovely little finish. I'm sure nobody's losing any sleep whether he's level or not at the moment, I would imagine, Peter, but
I'm sure they're not. What is interesting is that, by anyone's standards, Raul is a national iconic top superstar goal scorer, and David Villa has got to 43 or 44 a darn sight quicker than Raul did. It took Raul 102 games to get his 44 goals. Villa is there in 66.
And with a good few years ahead of him as well yet.
Silva. Este. Villa. All that by Banega. Nicely dealt with by Higuain. Monreal backpedaling. Tevez. Cambiasso.
No tanta teniencia. Ténganla, pero métanle.
Yeah. Start for Batista it has been. He was, Sergio Batista, a part of the Maradona team of the 1980s. He was a 1986 World Cup winner, defensive midfield player. Played in the Hand of God game, 1990 finalist, and 39 caps for his country. That's nicely done, but he couldn't get it back from Cambiasso. Alonso. Monreal. A rare moment of uncertainty. Bearings and conceding a cheap corner. Advertisers won't be too pleased with the Argentine goalkeeper, who swept away their carpet. Este looking to get it behind. Banega denying him that chance. Player who almost certainly would have gotten the World Cup back for injury. Oh, terrible moment for Reina! 3-0! Awful for the poor Liverpool goalkeeper, whose feet simply disappeared beneath him, so that Carlos Tevez had an empty net to fill. Poor Pepe Reina rarely gets a glimpse of a chance in the Spanish team, and tonight he may wish he had never had that chance. Nightmare. Carlos Tevez scored the goal, by the way.
Well, all credit to him for pouncing on it. I've got to say, I'm not sure about the ponytail, but that's for a different day. Pepe Reina just, you know, it happens to even the best. Under no pressure whatsoever, he's looking up, where am I going to play it, where am I going to play it? loses the right foot. Tevez is a good, 5 or 6 yards away, can't get himself up quick enough, and once he slides in there, Tevez gets contact, still takes a deflection off the Liverpool goalkeeper, but just to confound his embarrassment, it just manages to squeeze and spin into that empty net. Goodness me, what a horror show this is from Spain. I tell you what, Del Bosque's just thanking his lucky stars that he's lifted that World Cup, isn't he? Because this is an unmitigated disastrous first 45.
And for Argentina, at his cost, it's an unmitigated triumph. They started up top with Messi, Higuain, Tevez, and they've scored inside 35 minutes with Messi, Higuain, Tevez. Though the third was certainly a gift. Tevez scores his 12th international goal. 2 of those were against Mexico and South Africa, but none will have been more bizarre than tonight's one.
Well, I think at this rate, Peter, they might just be removing the word temporary from in front of the coach. It's only one game, I know, but you know, it's bottom line is it's the world champions, it's Spain, it's the number 1 team in the world. Yes, they've made changes, I know that, and the back fours looked anything but solid, but still, you can only do and play against what's in front of you.
Monreal, Villa, Silva barged off it. I don't know whether Argentina really are in the mood, Messi might be, to cause Spain some very real embarrassment. The collective tale is up, under new management, new boss to impress, in front of the home supporters for the first time since the World Cup. They don't have a competitive game till June, Argentina, when the Copa America kicks back in. So these are the games that count. They come to Wembley in February.
Well, I think at this rate there'll be a lot of people questioning the wisdom of travelling. You know, we were talking about the best part of 15 hours to play in a friendly game. It's, you know, it's very, very unusual, I've got to say. This is a look at the slip again from Pepe Reina. The right foot goes from under him. Panic stations. Tevez is sharp. All credit to him. He just seizes on it. Then he gets a bit of luck with the deflection, and well, it's a total tousering at the moment for the world champions.
Fabregas, Monreal, excellent retrieval by Messi for Banega, who's nudged off it by the touchline. This is extraordinary, really. The man who scored the sort of goal he did at one end should be back doing that sort of work at the other. Situation to which that man simply is not accustomed. Pointed after the European Championships in 2008, it seemed it would be almost impossible for him to match the deeds at that tournament of Luis Aragonés. He didn't just match them, he surpassed them by becoming champions not just of a continent but of the whole world. And here he is, staring down the barrel of certainly his worst result. Certainly his worst result. Spain's record since November 2006, played 57, 151. They've lost just twice in nearly 4 years. To the USA in the Confederations Cup, to Switzerland in their World Cup group game. That foul on Fabregas gives them a chance, perhaps, to steal something back before the break.
Well, it'd be a great one to win now, wouldn't it? 3-0 down, away from home in Argentina. But I can only remember one strike from Spain in the first half from David Villa from 25-30 yards that cracked the crossbar. I think that's been it.
Here again, deflection, good save, and the post, driven back in. Was it an Ainse who's gone over there, who's poleaxed? Argentina's certainly a man down. There's no obligation for Spain to stop, but sportingly, I suppose it is a friendly game. Sportingly, they have stopped. And it is Ainse who felt the full force of that.
Well, I think he's winded, Peter, but, you know, it's no reason to stop a game. It's, you know, there are no friendlies. I mean, let's be honest about it. We've seen some of the challenges in this match already. Certainly the free kick from David Villa takes a deflection. It's just whether or not Romero gets her fingertips on it, and certainly cracks the upright again. It's the second time. Big deflection. He may just have nicked it, Romero, onto the post. Comes off Mascherano's back, I think it is. And then he might just have taken one in a rather painful area there, Heinze, but we've got no sympathy.
Spain arguably showed a bit too much sympathy. They'll have to start again from deep, having had a bit of momentum building up. Last 3.5 minutes of a half in which for them nothing has gone right. Higuain on the back of a Monreal who almost had a hideous moment of his own. He gets a chance at left back about as often as Reina gets a chance in goal, ahead of Capdevila and Casillas respectively.
Well, I think many people actually think Reina's a better goalkeeper than Casillas, but you know, Casillas is by far the more experienced two goalkeepers in terms of international football.
Alonso. That's a really good take, and a hefty drive from Silva, which is deflected up and over.
And again, a player we've hardly seen in this game so far, David Silva. Normally you think about the Spanish front three and that's all you're really talking about.
Iniesta didn't give it up. Cambiasso launched himself to head away as far as Xavi Alonso. Argentina win possession by dint of sheer weight of numbers. Chavez and Alonso have opposing views.
Pasa.
Monreal. Villa. Last few seconds before half-time, possibility of a little stoppage time. Fabregas, Iniesta, Cambiasso in hard, and he's not the only one. Fabregas infuriated, Mascherano making the case for the defence. which is 2 Argentines already in the book. Benito is one, Cambiasso is the other. He has to be careful, and that's not being careful.
No, he just sort of lunged in there a little bit. Cambiasso. I don't think there was a great deal of contact, in all fairness. There was a little bit there from Mascherano. Now, David Villa has struck the upright twice already. Is it going to be third time lucky for the little Spaniard?
Iniesta's joined the queue of potential takers, and Xabi Alonso is right behind it too now. So Alonso, it's a pretty plain one, hard and firm into the middle of the wall. PK. Alonso in first half stoppage time. Silva blundering through. So Romero, an unchallenged catch.
A bit soft here from Xabi Alonso. Big strong wall from Argentina. It jumped as well, so it was always going to be difficult to get it up and over and down quickly enough.
Half time. An impossibly good goal from Lionel Messi, an impossibly bad one conceded by Reina to Tevez. Between those, one from Higuain. Do not adjust your sets. The half-time score in Buenos Aires, Argentina 3, the world champions 0.
Well, it's not every week, or almost ever, that you see that score.
The coach, he was, as you would expect, extremely respectful of these opponents coming into this. He said we should start to copy Spain. They play such a handsome game. He may be less inclined to copy them after what he saw in the first half, in which they were a lot better than Spain. I just caught a glimpse, as I'm sure you did, of Jesus Navas and Fernando Llorente on the touchline, possibly about to come on for Spain. There was talk prior to the game that both of the backup goalkeepers would get a half each, so Victor Valdez, who you can see there in green, is also being introduced. Victor Valdez, the Barcelona goalkeeper, winning his 3rd cap. He was the best in last season's La Liga, won the Zamora Trophy for the best goalkeeping record. That is Jesus Navas, Sevilla's little flyer, very exciting player who came in and impacted actually very positively on the World Cup final. The first hour had been fairly unexciting, and he certainly brought something to the party. The referee showed a couple of yellow cards in the first half. That gets the second half underway with Argentina, as we understand it, unchanged from an 11 that ripped into the best nation on the planet in the first half and has them 3-0 behind. It's Spain's game to chase, if indeed they are, Craig Burley, inclined to chase it. And I guess for reputation's sake, they probably have to be inclined to, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that was quite an embarrassing first 45 minutes for Spain, just in terms of, as the lads were talking about at half-time. Spain normally, you think about them on the ball for a good 60 or 70% of possession. Well, it was completely the opposite. In fact, they'd be lucky if they had 20% possession in that first half.
Arbeloa. Through Milito, who had a little tug from behind. And the former Liverpool fullback has won Spain the chance to get on the front foot early in the second half.
Well, I haven't seen either of the two fullbacks forward at all, really. A bit of shot pulling as well going on in there. It's interesting they've now got, I think, Llorente on the field, the Spanish big striker. I thought he was quite impressive at times at the World Cup when he came on, when Torres was struggling. Certainly gives him a different dimension in the air.
by Fabregas. Llorente's getting up, and so is Sergio Romero. Here's Fernando Llorente, the Athletic Bilbao striker, winning his 10th cap tonight. Llorente, Alonso, squeezed out by Dimichelis, and then an agricultural challenge on the edge of his own penalty area by Banega. Spain took the free kick more quickly than the referee was prepared to allow them.
Well, I thought that was 6 and 2 threes there, and Alonso, I think it was, bundled into Banega as well, just as he took the touch there. I think that's a free kick for Argentina, not for Spain, in all fairness. That's why he was looking a little bit surprised, Banega there. Anyway, it's been given. It's a little bit lucky. It's gone in the Spanish favour.
Floated with just too much elevation by Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah, that's poor from Fabregas. Villa's had a couple of attempts. I think Alonso had one. This time it was Fabregas, so they're sharing it around.
Santi Cazorla of Villarreal is on in place of Iniesta. It's 4 half-time changes we've identified. It's at the back of Navas, who is a delightful ball player. And Tevez across to cover. But Spain have certainly started the second half with some genuine intent to try and make good the damage done before the interval. Navas in the wars early. Mascherano intent on keeping the Argentine sheets clean. Arbeloa. PK. Navas. Monreal. And by Cazorla. High from Monreal. Nice first touch from Navas. He's made himself half a yard. Great delivery. And header wide from Llorente. But Navas has injected that little special something that he has.
Well, he is. He's a pacey, quick player. I didn't quite see his speed here, but just his quick feet in a tight area. Tevez getting back. David Villa off, so Llorente on. Completely different player altogether. Big target man who is, I've got to say, useful on the deck as well, but 6 yards out, that's his bread and butter. That was the opportunity to get Spain back into this game. That's a poor header.
Gentle reintroduction for Victor Valdez, who won his 2 previous caps, one just before the World Cup in South Korea in a friendly, and one directly after it against Mexico in the Azteca. But the Spanish side that's out there now, it's bearing less and less resemblance to that which represented the country in the World Cup final. No Casillas, Ramos, Puyol, Capdevila. No Xavi, no Iniesta anymore. Pedro's not out there either, nor's Villa. But Batista, though he has, as you saw, his substitutes warming up, has resisted the temptation so far to use any of them. Tevez. Messi. Mascherano always simple. Messi, not necessarily so. Here back to Banega, rolled through for Esteban Cambiasso, and hit with some force by Higuain. Requiring Valdez to go across and get a touch.
Yeah, it was a great touch at that. Brilliant play. Messi coming off the left, some great first time football. Banega with a little ball in there. Great awareness from Cambiasso. Don't see him in that position too many times. Round about the edge of the box, predominantly a holding midfielder, but great awareness. Just really teed it up for Higuain, and a wonderful touch from Valdez.
Messi orchestrating a short corner. Banega's passing it, though, went wrong. Cazorla brought it away. Pain that Mascherano is feeling after that challenge.
Well, Xabi Alonso's dishing it out today, that's for sure. This is the run from Messi. And look at it from behind the goal, the save from Victor Valdez. Just teed up beautifully there. Doesn't have to take a touch, Higuain. Had a man over as well, just behind him if he'd have wanted to use him. It's a great touch.
Yeah, that it's very possible you're joining us late-ish in this game for a bit of late evening international football, perhaps having watched another game earlier in the evening. If that is the case, then the scoreline in the top left-hand corner of your screen might be a cause of some surprise in your household. But Argentina were pretty good in the first half against the world champions, who weren't quite themselves. Lionel Messi scored with a brilliantly deft touch early in the game. Gonzalo Higuain got the second from an impossibly acute angle. And I'm afraid if you're a Liverpool supporter, and the third goal came about as a result of an awful moment for Pepe Reina, which was pounced upon by Carlos Tevez. All three goals in the first half. Spain have begun the second half having made 4 changes rather more positively. But for all that, Argentina have created the best chance and are in possession now with Zanetti.
Well, the way the Argentinians are playing, I bet Spain can't wait to play Scotland.
Who beat Liechtenstein this evening with a 96th minute winner to go top of Spain's group. So Scotland they all want to beat now.
Nothing but a convincing victory against the great nation of Liechtenstein. It's interesting, if this had been a competitive match, you know, Peter, I think Xabi Alonso would have had a couple of yellow cards and would probably have been off.
So in the reverse of what so often happens in competitive football, Spain make a change which sees the withdrawal of Cesc Fabregas and the introduction of one of their undoubted trump cards in Xavi. Incidentally, all joking aside, the really significant result in Spain's group from Spain's point of view tonight might be that the Czech Republic were beaten at home. I'm sure Spain would consider the Czechs their closest immediate rivals for qualification, and Lithuania went to Prague and won this evening. which in fairness to Scotland puts their goalless draw with Lithuania in some sort of glowing context as well. May turn out not to be a bad point.
If you say so. I think, you know, anybody with their head screwed on knows that in that group it's a battle for second place. Spain will win the group. They'll win it at a canter. I would imagine it will be nothing resembling this side that's out tonight at the moment, or this Spanish side that started either, and it will be back to business as usual. It's a game that many will say, well, you know, what's the point? Why have they gone there? What's it all about? And I'm sure at the moment there's quite a few wearing red shirts that are asking the same question.
Cut down by Ainse as he looked to overlap beyond him.
Although I do think it is a great opportunity for two wonderful sides to play, but I think if you're talking about it from a manager's point of view, Peter, in the English Premier League, then it's a big no-no.
Not just the English Premier League, but certainly be a few concerns. That's a clever try. It's wide from Xabi Alonso, who is one of several expected to go back and be involved in league action at the weekend. Real Madrid play Osasuna on Saturday. He would expect to be involved in that. Barcelona play newly promoted Hercules at the weekend. Those are the top two Spanish fixtures, but Arsenal, Bolton, Manchester City, Blackburn, Liverpool at Birmingham, all coming up Saturday and Sunday, and players potentially involved in all of those fixtures still on the field here now with half an hour to play.
It was interesting how when Alonso tried to chip Sergio Romero there, that he just booted the ball away, because keepers hate players just trying to chip them.
Xavi swung in the free kick, despite the fact that his would-be tackler hadn't withdrawn even 1 yard, never mind 10. Change for Argentina. Di Maria has joined us. He may not be the only one. An hour gone. So around about this point in a friendly international that these things start to happen. A goal and a handshake for Carlos Tevez, and a long trip back to the UK to face Blackburn at Eastlands on Saturday. Mr. Mancini can pencil him in. There indeed, as I mentioned, is his replacement, Angel Di Maria. Arbala. So, Xavi. Athola. Xavi. Navas. Ainse rather committed himself there, and Navas has whipped in another dangerous looking ball, and here's Cazorla, and still, and Alonso, and eventually a drive lifted over by Xavi. But Spain is certainly better. They've certainly been better since half-time.
Well, might have an opportunity for Cazorla to hit it a little bit earlier. Maybe just on the volley on the left foot, just there. Once he comes back inside, Argentina do well to crowd it out. But again, it was that substitute Navas just down that right-hand side where he does look sharp. He is very quick. If you can get Heinze one-on-one and get at him, I think he fancies his chances of stripping the left back in terms of pace.
vete, Fernando. Xavi, Xavi, Xavi. Qué fuerte.
Out by Marchena. Navas came to fetch it. Llorente is hurrying up Milito. Mascherano. Messi. Off he goes. That's beautifully done from Messi. Oh, 4-0. Or so it might have been, but for the upraised flag against Di Maria. And from a neutral perspective, you have to say that's a great shame, because Messi's run was amongst his mercurial best. And what's more, actually he's right.
Well, he just delayed it that split second. The pass was actually there to play a little better. It's a great finish as well, and you're absolutely right, Peter, from the neutral point of view. In fact, when Messi picked that ball up inside his own half and drove forward, you're almost willing him to go all the way on his own, because it was one of those goals that you would just remember forever. But he was so unlucky, and the pass was a fantastic pass, just delayed it a little bit. Unfortunate.
Actually, though, Di Maria certainly was offside. I reckon that was just about his first touch. It might have been his first touch since coming on, and certainly connected crisply.
Did you see how he put the afterburners on there, Messi? That just, the ability to, just get away from people over 5 or 6 yards, and all of a sudden he's behind you with that series, that pace over that short period, that short space of time.
I was rereading something Arsene Wenger said about him off the back of that Champions League game in which he scored 4 against Arsenal last year. He says he is the only player who can change direction at that speed. Di Maria got into trouble. Navas swept it across. Xavi has it now. Here's Jesus Navas. Neither one thing nor t'other.
Well, second chance in the second half. First one for Llorente early on from the header. This is an excellent one as well. They were a bit sloppy, Argentina, at the back, giving the ball away, and that just had them at 6s and 7s, and big huge gaps there. And it's a snatched finish from Navas, no real composure just to hit the target. In fact, he's miles away from hitting the target from a pretty good area, in all fairness.
Navas. Alonso. Corner. His ankle tapped. Free kick against Banega. So this Colombian referee, who's been at each of the last 3 World Cups, he showed a red card in both games he officiated in South Africa. So he sent off Gorku for France against South Africa. He is insisting on 10 yards between ball and wall. Narrow, horizontal and unorthodox, but he got 2 fists on it. Arbeloa. Also squeezed off it. Monreal. They have 3 goals scored by 3 different strikers, and they have another option in Kun Aguero. Cambiasso. He simply had to bully Messi over. There was no alternative. Means that Monreal has to take a yellow.
Again, it's once he gets this side of you, you've got a decision to make, because the likelihood is he's going to drive in all the way, and like many have before, he just took one for the team there, Monreal. Not that it's going to make a great deal of difference in this game, I wouldn't imagine. Argentina have just more or less settled for what they've got now. Peter, 3-0, that's going to look good in the newspapers in the morning, they're thinking, against the world champions. Some pretty good headlines.
Certainly a worthwhile outing for that fella. Gonzalo Higuain, that's his 7th international goal. Memorable one it was too. Pity for him that Messi's is more likely to be remembered out of this evening, because his was a very, very good finish. But he is replaced by the son-in-law of the now former manager of Argentina, Diego Maradona's son-in-law, Sergio Kun Agüero. Xavi. Messi, a lovely first touch. Pass just a bit too much of Di Maria. Llorente backing in. Xavi. Monreal. The well-timed tackle by De Michelis. Spain have it back. Spain are about to make a change before Monreal's throw. The end of the evening for Xavi Alonso, whose replacement is number 18, Pedro, of Barcelona, one of those who did start the World Cup final but didn't finish it, just played the first hour. Monreal. To Michelis, and a free kick against Agüero. Xavi now has the captain's armband, Xavi Alonso having given way. Pedro pursuing it, Banega with the clearance, and an opportunity to point you in the direction of the start of the Champions League on ITV. ITV1, next Wednesday night, we bring you the first night on this channel of this year's major European competition, and it is Arsenal against Braga from the Emirates. ITV1 from 7:30 next Wednesday the 15th. Sadly, incidentally, Robin van Persie won't be part of that occasion. We knew that was the likelihood, but news coming out of Arsenal tonight, he is going to be out of action until at least the middle of October. As a result of the ankle injury he collected at Blackburn in the Premier League last weekend. Morel, Navas, Cambiasso. There goes Milito into what is normally his brother's territory. In by Di Maria, that was a devilish looking cross with really good shape and whip on it. Out by Piqué. Llorente. It's a cumbersome challenge on the edge of the penalty area, the very edge of the penalty area by Dimichelis on Pedro.
It's a nice little step over actually, it's very, very close. Mr. Brennan says about a yard outside, just as he drove in there. Zanetti hangs that left leg out. Argentina have always given up the ghost now. They've all the damage done in the first half. They're just allowing Spain to get possession.
Xavi, get the top brick in the wall, and back in by Cazorla, touched onto his crossbar by Romero. Here's Xavi again. And in fairness to Spain, though, they certainly were outplayed in the first half, and on the balance of play, merited the big deficit they were facing. They have now hit the Argentine woodwork 3 times in the game. And if it did before half-time, certainly since half-time, it's felt a lot less like a 3-0 football match.
Great save there from Romero, wasn't it? Fingertips, just sat up. Lovely for Cazorla. Gets dipping it. Big keeper Romero. Gets that big right arm up.
He's 6'3", and he needed all of the 3 there.
I think it's a bit of both in this game. Spain have come into it a little bit. They've cut out, some of the silly errors at the back that they had in the first half. The one catastrophe from Pepe Reina when he slipped over him. And Argentina have, the 3 goals. It's only natural that they've lowered the tempo of their game. Can't help but thinking though, Maradona's watching this and thinking that his way is still the right way. Stubborn man.
Navas is getting black and blue ankles. He's only relatively recently become part of the piece. It's surprising if he was feeling a little victimised already though. He's won this free kick. Xavi is going to take it. Llorente is waiting for it. And Marchena is up from centre half. Xavi's free kick. The header loops a long way over from Llorente. There were many, perhaps of the more rational, as we enjoy one of Messi's thrilling forays over the course of the game, and his receipt of Tevez' return pass for the magical opening goal.
mean, there has been some brilliant play from Argentina, certainly in that first 45 minutes, but a lot of it was down to some extremely poor defending from a Spanish side you wouldn't normally associate with a back four. It's been a lot of changes, and then a horrendous slip from Pepe Reina allowed Tevez just to get on the end of it. He didn't react particularly well when he was on the ground, but there's been a much better balance about this Argentinian side, no doubt about it. New coach has realised that he has attacking players, but he has to protect the back four as well, and he certainly set his side up to do that. And Di Maria, who's on now, he's been the one to miss out. Peter, they had 4 in South Africa, and I think the coach has realised that the maximum he can go is the 3 attacking guys. That would be common sense.
I was going to say before we saw the reprise of those 3 goals that there were many in Argentina who thought that Batista should have been appointed when Maradona was. He was the more logical, I suppose cold-hearted choice. Maradona might have been the selection of an Argentine heart, but a few cooler heads would have gone for Batista, who had been in charge of the youth set up internationally and indeed had overseen the team that won Olympic gold. On the receiving end of the latest thorough challenge. Having said that, Maradona gave them a ride. It certainly wasn't dull. Arbeloa's foul. Here goes Navas. Llorente. Xavi. Pasola. Oh, it's another really good get from Argentina's goalkeeper, Sergio Romero.
Yeah, Pasola's looked decent since he's come on as well. Another player that got at one point might start the game.
Navas with the outswinger. TK's header. Headed in by Romero, who's got good distance. And his clearance, just too much distance for Di Maria.
In many ways it's a shame really that it was such an emphatic 3-0 lead at half-time for Argentina, because it really could have been a good contest, this one, had Spain managed to keep in the game early. As it is, although Spain have cracked the woodwork on 3 occasions, it's, Argentina have just sat off now and just resting a few legs, taking it easy. Unorthodox, call that.
Xavi. Monreal. Again. Marchena joined in. Lifted in towards Llorente, well played by Romero. He's got every reason to feel pride in his performance this evening. Spain's next qualifier is actually at home at the start of next month. They're at home to Lithuania Friday, October the 8th, and then they go to Hamden the following Tuesday. And they finish their most special of international years with a friendly in Portugal, whom of course they knocked out of the World Cup.
Interesting to see how they go in the Euros 2012. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but has anybody won 3 in a row? I mean, won Euros and World Cup and then...
Don't think that's been done.
No, I don't think so. And I think there's every chance they can do that. I don't see any way or any reason for it to bait away because they're all relatively young.
There are only 3 instances, of which Spain are clearly the third, of a country being both European and world champions at the same time.
I mean, they went so long without winning anything, didn't they? I mean, realistically now it could be 3 in a row. That is if they qualify from a very tough group.
Going to knock the Scots off the top first. Xavi. Busquets. PK. Arbeloa.
Maybe the one big threat to Spain would be the Germans, having watched them in the summer, and a reasonably youthful look about them. The Italians were poor, obviously England struggled.
Fuller, Monreal, Llorente turning and scoring. A little late in the day, but it's a start for Spain. They have 6.5 minutes to do it twice more and drag something home from what looked like an immensely unpromising situation.
Well, he fluffed his lines much earlier on a much easier chance, a header from 6 yards. This is extremely difficult, and I think it beats the keeper because he's not expecting it, and he's got his back to him, Llorente. For such a big fella, he does really well sorting his feet out, gets a couple of touches. Don't know quite if he means to knock it into that path. I think it comes off his knee or his shin. There you go. Well, actually just fires it on for himself to half volley it on the spin, and for the first time the keeper can only look.
Involved in the action offensively for the first time. He's enjoying a challenge which gives Argentina a settling free kick. At a time when they don't want to be too near their own goal again. To concede now would be to set up a grandstand finish that they don't really want. To score would be to put the game finally and certainly to bed. Mascherano. Milito, whose brother Diego we saw on the touchline a little while ago. In by Di Maria, and well played by Valdez. In front of Cambiasso.
Well, he's certainly got a cultured left foot, Di Maria. Might have to settle for a place on the bench under the new coach, just get the balance of the team right. But he put a hell of a good ball in earlier and just swept it across the face of that 6-yard box about 20 minutes ago. It's interesting with Argentina, they've even got people like Diego Milito, the Inter Milan striker, who is not even on the field at the moment, so they've got plenty of choices going forward.
Spain on the charge again, and with men over. Here is Jesus Navas. Smuggled off the line by Dumichelis. The world champions, fair play to them, a pale version of themselves they might have been for much of the evening, but they're giving a rattle right at the end here, as if in a last desperate attempt to save face and reputation. Pedro took on a bit too much. The fourth yellow card of the night.
I think Navas has given Del Bosque just food for thought again. Not too dissimilar to where Higuain scored from in the first half. He just couldn't quite get it in. He was well blocked in the end.
Messi. Even by his extraordinary standards, he left himself just a little bit too much to do. He's capable of executing shooting angles that others would consider impossible.
Just a little body swerve when he gets in here. Just watch him how he just drops his shoulder here. There you go. PK, I think it is. Tatibai. Just never quite gets it under control, and he's going away, can't generate the power. But there's been some great runs from Lionel Messi at times in this game. Some fabulous footwork. Obviously an excellent goal that got Argentina off and running, and certainly looking more like back to his best, isn't he? Morel.
Time for Lionel Messi to take his own personal round of applause. They don't require much encouragement to lift him onto a pedestal. It's been a wonderful watch once more, and has scored a wonderful goal once more. Only leaves you with the minor regret as D'Alessandro comes on in his place, but we didn't see a little bit more of that in South Africa during the summer. Still, it's good to know he can still do it, as indeed he already has done for Barcelona in the La Liga. Sandro, that was clever. They'd say, oh, they have their fourth. Kun Aguero, as the clock ticked over 90 minutes, rising to meet Ense's cross and to put the icing on a pretty sumptuous cake for Argentina. It's a night no one here will forget in a hurry. The night Argentina humbled the world champions. Messi, Higuain, Tevez and Aguero, four big-name strikers, four memorable goals.
Well, it's probably as good as it's ever going to get for Argentina against the world champions. There's no doubt about that. This has been something they would have dreamt of beforehand. They would have known it was going to be a tough game, even though it's a friendly. And he's not the tallest, Aguero. A lot of clubs looking at him. It was reported Chelsea were thinking about buying him in the summer. Anyway, he stays in Spain, and the Spanish are stretched. It's a lovely ball fed in again from the left-hand side. This time it's not Di Maria, it's Heinze. Just pulls off Monreal at the back, and he's going away, he's backing off. And to generate that power and direction was excellent, and finishes off a wonderful night for the home side and their new coach. Temporary at the moment, not for long at this rate.
Atletico Madrid's Kun Aguero wiping out the little consolation that had been scored for Spain by Athletic Bilbao's Fernando Llorente. It is those two against each other, Bilbao against Atletico Madrid this weekend in La Liga. Fouled by Navas at the back of Ense, matters little now. Generally speaking, there isn't much stoppage time added on in friendly internationals. I suspect he would rather start the bus now. It's not meant to be like this when you're on top of the world. Yes, that is the pressure that comes with success. If you can't win the World Cup, the next best thing, I suppose, is to beat the team that has won the World Cup. If there was some introspection in Argentina after their humbling by Germany, then they have reason to rediscover their collective national smile now. The Albi Celesti are back in business. And he has written himself an extremely good job application. It's not what we expected, but it was worth watching and enjoying. Argentina at their very best, 4 memorable goals, Spain better in the second half, but the world champions well beaten, 4-1 in Buenos Aires.